早晨咁多位，歡迎大家嚟到今日3月20號嘅 UABB Call for Exhibitors and Salon 科。我哋今日咧會成個 session 咧就會11點開始嘅，咁就會有2個 speaker 啦。我哋而家請我哋嘅 curator 阿飛出嚟同我哋開始我哋嘅 presentation。唔該，阿飛。
Hey, hello, 大家早晨。So, welcome everyone to the fourth and final salon for the UABB 2022. My name is Faye, one of the curators this year. 好歡迎大家嚟到今朝禮拜日朝頭早11點都 join 我哋嘅 webinar 啦。今日係我哋 UABB 2022年第4個，亦都係最後一個嘅 before show 嘅 webinar 啦。咁今日嘅webinar咧會係一半中文一半英文嘅，咁但係咧無論係用緊邊個 language 嘅時候咧，你都可以喺 Zoom 嗰度咧去選擇嗰個 interpretation， 可以揀英文或者中文，我哋係會有即時傳譯嘅，咁係 Carla 幫我哋手做呢個即時傳譯嘅工作啦。So, this webinar today will be carried out in English in halfway, and then the other half will be in Cantonese. So that's why we have simultaneous interpretation provided. So in your Zoom software window, at the bottom of it, there is an interpretation option. So you can pick either English or Cantonese throughout the entire webinar. So let me briefly introduce the organizers for UABB 2022. So the lead organizer is HKIA Biennale Foundation with 3 co-organizers: Hong Kong Institute of Architects, Hong Kong Institute of Planners, and Hong Kong Designers Association. The lead sponsor of this whole event is Create Hong Kong of the Government of Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. And we have a list of supporting organizations. One of them is American Institute of Architects Hong Kong chapter. So a little bit about the timeline of this year's UABB. It's a little bit unusual because usually we have it happening in December and then maybe run till March. But this year is a bit special in a way that we will start earlier in late August and then have it run till November. Curatorial team this year is relatively a bigger group of curators. We have 6 curators this year. All of us graduated from undergrad of Hong Kong U Architecture in different years, of course. So all of us, 5 of us are working architects, practicing architects, and me myself is registered in the US. Alfred is registered in the Netherlands, and he specialized in urban studies in Hong Kong as well. Wen is not the only non-architect in our group. She is more of a transdisciplinary theater and art practitioner who specialized in drama, theater, stage design. She is also a teacher at Lee Shoo Kee Hong Kong School of Creativity. And Erica and Nikki work in the same office, and both of them work a lot on adaptive reuse projects. Carla and Nikki both are very active in the conservation, architectural conservation realm field of Hong Kong, so as Alfred. So Carla is now a practicing architect in Hong Kong with mostly working on historical conservation projects. We also have a curatorial assistant, Jeffrey, graduated from the Chinese University of Hong Kong with a Bachelor of Social Science in Urban Studies and Program. He has very wide experience in multidisciplinary art practices and also community programs. So that's why he's of great help in the team. The curatorial direction of this year is called Seeds of Resilience, and we really want everybody to rediscover the city of Hong Kong. In the past few years, Hong Kong has been hit by multiple waves of crisis, and even till now, we're still in one of those. But because of these difficult times, more and more of these bottom-up or grassroots efforts are coming up from not only the architects or planning professions realm, but also from every corner of Hong Kong. It could be a bunch of handyman grouped together to serve, to form a team to serve the underprivileged people. It could be NGO that focuses on housing, grouped together to write a paper report to the government. So all this kind of bottom up or grassroots effort is the kind of ideas and efforts that we want to pull out from different parts of Hong Kong and be put under the spotlight of UABB 2022. Another thing that we want to do is to make this Biennale of Architecture and Urbanism really for everyone instead of just for the professionals or the academia. This year, we want to encourage everybody to collaborate outside of the professional realm with either NGO or some local communities or Facebook groups that have certain research focus. Just talking about seeds of resilience might be too broad or too vague. So that's why we have 4 sub-themes that focuses on very important issues that Hong Kong cares about. The first one is community design and social design, and we group everything into bottoms up. Hong Kong is the city that is forever changing, and this kind of metabolism is inevitable. So, but then how do we find the new equilibrium, or how do we keep the harmonious community energy or dynamics within these changes? Traditionally, we have planners or architects doing top-down design, deciding what your city will look like, what your neighborhood will look like. But then the trend is kind of going in reverse, meaning more social engagement, more public engagement should be included in the design process. So this kind of community design or social design experiments are still in relatively small scale, but we want to pull out these projects to look at them and see what can be done better. What are the good things about these approach? So that's our first sub-theme, bottoms up. And the second one is called cohabitation, diversity and inclusion. Hong Kong takes pride in being a really accepting city with multiple cultures melting together. But how do we often design for the non-mainstream population? Has these design strategies been widely published, or has they been taken seriously to even include it in the building ordinance or building code? So in this topic, we want to highlight the design strategies that are geared towards the underprivileged, people with disabilities, elderlies, or even ethnic minorities or LGBT communities. So we want to find out all these strategies that could make Hong Kong as a happy city for everyone, not just the mainstream. The third and the fourth one both focuses on sustainability. The first one is called Human Nature Symbiosis, Sustainable Planning. So looking at a more macro scale of how sustainability can be enforced in the planning scale. And then the second one is Living Manifesto, Alternative Living and Low Carbon Living. So it's a very micro scale from a personal perspective. How can we really apply the sustainability rules and living low carbon? If you're interested in submitting as one of the exhibitor, you are more than welcome to go back and revisit our previous briefing sessions that has been recorded both in Cantonese and English. So if you use your phone, scan this QR code right now, you will be brought over to the YouTube channel, and then you can revisit our presentation. So this is the YouTube channel. You're more than welcome to follow it, although we only have a few videos as of now. It's called Seeds of Resilience, HKSC UABB Hong Kong 2022. Okay, talking about venue, now we have a tentative venue at the North Point East Pier. It's a naturally ventilated site, which is easily accessible by public transportation. And we think that it could be a really interesting and a site that not a whole lot of us have visited. Even I haven't been there before UABB. Other satellite venues that we're considering include Central Market, Sangwoo Gun, which is an organic farming community in Campton, an alley shop, and then another alley shop in Sheung Wan. So one in Wan Chai, the other one in Sheung Wan. If you would like to submit for a proposal, we highly encourage you to submit for Central Market and North Point East Pier. And from all those exhibits, proposal that we received, we would kind of select the ones that might be interesting to put in those more special sites, because those would involve more communication with the site owner and really work out the synergy. So those might take more time. So if you are submitting proposal, please consider North Point East Pier and Central Market first. And we really want to do something that's specialized for those smaller venues. You're welcome to talk to us. This year's UABB will be a blend of physical and virtual site, meaning, okay, the actual one will be in the physical spaces that I just mentioned. We also have online salons, which could also be offline later on when COVID situation allows. The virtual site is not only an effort to combat or tackle this social distancing situation. Our intent is also to archive all the works that has been done for this 3 months exhibition and make them available for a longer period of time. So even after this 2-year period of time, when the next UABB has to happen in 2024, we would want to keep this virtual archival bank of information somewhere on the internet. Besides the social impact and cross-disciplinary collaboration that I just mentioned, we would also like to encourage participants or exhibitors to think of ways that could minimize carbon footprint. For example, making your exhibits into useful objects instead of printing panels that will be mounted on foam board. And then after the exhibition, these just become trash that goes to the landfill. So what about printing your exhibits, of course, in great, nice graphics on maybe shower curtains or picnic mats, things that could be used after the 2022 UABB. Or you could also consider using reusable or recycled, upcycled material, or source local material, meaning we have lined up with Y Park, or there are other sorts of locally upcycled or recycled materials that you could use, including locally sourced timber. For exhibition format, we have these 3 listed out for your consideration. The first one is making a device or an installation that could be finished setting up in 2 days, suitable for outdoor area, and that is carbon footprint conscious, which demonstrate how alternative living could be done. The second option is to really carry out a bottom-up project. So some of you are already doing or working on some bottom-up project that includes engaging the community. We are more than happy to, for you to submit a proposal that is like a little branch of projects from what you are already doing. Third one is really submit anything that is aligned with our curatorial statement, the 4 sub-themes. It could be images, installations, multimedia, research, document, models. Make it useful, make it recyclable, and try to collaborate. For submission requirements, these details, you can find it on the HKIA website. So how to find it? First thing is, now we're at the HKIA website now. So if you click on what's on, and then search for UABB. Okay, the first post that pop up is where you can find all the deck that I just showed, the application form in Word version, which we will have to complete and return to us by email by the 4th of April, 3 p.m. And then, so here's the email that you should send to. And all the information that we have been showing today can be downloaded here. Just click on this And then you will find the whole deck with all the information embedded. Okay. All right, so as I said, you have to complete an application form for potential exhibitors and also submit a few sheets of A4 images with the file name clearly labeled, so we know who you are. So 2 to 4 pages of A4 images, renderings, sketches, photo montage, anything that could explain what your design looks like and how the installation fits into particular spaces. For example, if you are proposing an installation for the North Point Pier, then you need to show us, okay, roughly you need a place with more sunlight, less sunlight, or can you please endure the rain and the potential typhoon that might happen in late August? So for the salons, we have carried out so far 4 sessions, and all these videos are available on our Facebook page and also our YouTube channel. If you are having any questions or doubts on maybe what to submit, I have a few ideas which one would be better or more suitable. You're more than welcome to text us or contact us via Facebook. Just search for @UABB Hong Kong. Okay, so this is all for the briefing session. And next up, we will have Ruby Lai and Ernest Poon from our speakers to talk to us about community design playground and also her study, Ruby's study on subdivided housing family practice. So I will pass on the thing. I'll pass it on to Alfred now to introduce our speakers.
Okay, hello, this is Alfred Ho. Thanks, Paige, for the introduction. Today is our last territorial salon of UABB 2022 before the deadline of the call for exhibitor. So we will have 2 talks concerning reimagining community and public space. And there will be 2 speakers. The first will be Ruby Lai of Department of Sociology and Social Policy at Ningnan University. She'll introduce us in English for the informal housing or inadequate housing in Hong Kong and how the household cultivate the family life in this informal or inadequate housing and how this activity extend beyond this very small living space to the community. And then we'll have our second speaker, Ernest Poon, who will speak in Cantonese for the place area. So he will talk about where the children could play during the pandemic and how he foresee the children play in the post-pandemic in the future. So let's welcome Ruby Lai for the first talk.
Okay. So thank you, Alfred, for the introductions. And I'm Ruby, and I'm really happy to be invited here to deliver the talk. Just a disclaimer, I'm not an architect, I'm not a planner, and I'm not a designer. I'm a sociologist who is interested in family and gender. So that's why I try to study the family practice in these subdivided units. So the topic of my presentation is poverty, space, and caregiving, family practice in cubicle homes. So I guess like subdivided units or subdivided flats in Cantonese, which is tong fang, is not an unfamiliar topic for many of us who live in Hong Kong or even live outside Hong Kong, because it's actually it's a face of poverty of this affluent city. It's just a very brief outline. So I will talk a little bit about the background of the issue and also my research. And then I will introduce the way how I conduct my research. And then I will try to show you all these spatial strategies that used by the families to cultivate their family lives. So this is just a photo to show you the conditions of these subdivided units. This is really a common portrayal And you can actually Google it. When you Google subdivided unit, you will see something like that. And so we all know it's a very deprived living environment. And we actually can see it in front of our eyes. But what we can't see is the resilience of these families living in subdivided units, how they try to negotiate with these very difficult housing condition. So that's exactly why I try to delve into this issue to show their resilience, which is the topic of this salon too. So a little bit background, all of us know that Hong Kong is a densely populated city with one of the highest housing and rental price. And so the average waiting time for public rental housings is 6 years. It's increasing steadily throughout the years. And from our experience, we see that many of these families, they live in the subdivided unit for like 9 years and they're still waiting for public housing. So that 6 years may not be so accurate in reality. And subdivided unit, we know it, and then it's kind of like a new form of informal housings that emerged in the past 2 decades. So we do have lots of informal housing. We have bed space apartment, we have partition room, we have rooftop housing, and subdivided units is kind of like a new form, as I said. So you may think that it is kind of legal, but then many of them are not, because if you wanted to make it legalized, you have to make an application to the building department, and then they approve that, and then you can like make it legally. But then many of these owners of the subdivided flats, they did not do so, so that make it kind of like an informal status. So these flats, they are tiny, we all know that. The median floor areas is like 100 square feet, but they're not cheap. So you have to pay 4,500 Hong Kong dollars for that 100 square feet. So yeah, that's life. Okay, so there are lots of literature in sociology that touch on space, housing, and family life. And so we sociologists conceive family not just in terms of forms or structure, but then we also see family as an entity that constitute by active everyday actions and practices. So the practices or actions that are done by the family members. And so these practices constitute a family or give us a sense of being part of a family. So that's why housing or home space is so important, because it provides the environment for these practices or interactions to occur. Okay, so they are located in such kind of housing space. And these housing space is also crucial for the constructions of individual identity, like as a mother or as a son or daughters or as a husband. So these space are crucial. So, but then we will wonder, so in such kind of inadequate housing space or deprived housing conditions where you do not have any partition, you do not have a decent bedroom or a kitchen or a bathroom. So how can you cultivate your family life? How these family practices are being shaped in such kind of deprived condition or inadequate space? So that's exactly my research questions. How these family do family in such kind of limited space. So my study, I conducted ethnographic observations. So I'm a qualitative researcher. So I conducted ethnographic observations in the neighborhood, which is in Kwai Ching district. And it is a low to middle income neighborhood. And I observe the neighborhood and also the homes of these subdivided units talent. No, they're not subdivided, okay? And I also interview them. So I'm not just curious about their housing conditions, but then I'm basically interested in their life. So I ask about their housing tenure and their migrations history, and then basically their life stories. I interviewed 35 SDU families, and most of them are low-income families. And they live in quarters with a median housing size of 100 square feet, and they pay $4,700 Hong Kong dollars per month for these very tiny units. So I will try to share with you the spatial strategy that I identified. So I divided into two categories. The first one is homemaking strategy that occur within the units. And the second one is the space within the neighborhood, which outside their housing units. So we will see some of the example one by one. So the first homemaking strategy is demarcating physical and spatial boundaries. So they are physically visible, these boundaries. So these boundaries are demarcated to preserve privacy and to divide the very tiny unit into different functional areas. So this is a very common strategy that used by the tenants. They will often use wooden bedboards or curtains or any other kind of furniture or household item to create these private spaces. And so these space or these boundaries, they are not permanent, they're not fixed. They are always flexible because you need to change these boundaries in order to satisfy the family needs that would be changed throughout different stages of family life cycle. So that's a very dynamic process and extremely interesting to see. Yeah, this is the quote, but because of the time, I can't really spell it out. Yeah, but then you can look at it in the picture. So the second strategy would be maintaining livable space. Of course, we know that these tiny units in a really poor condition for some. So there are a lot of damages or like water linkage, like the housing attributes are quite deprived. But then these tenants, they try their very best to maintain a livable space for their children or their family members by doing DIY maintenance or decorating the space or simply keep the space clean and tidy. So cleanliness is one of the very crucial elements considered by my interviewees, because they think that cleanliness or tidiness can make a place like home, and then which can create a sense of home for the children and then make them feel confident. So this is also part of the kind of identity construction process. And that's crucial. Yeah. So the third one is ratifying space. As we all know that space is very limited in such kind of unit. And so many talents told me that if you don't use those spaces, they are not space at all. So you have to use that. Okay, so you have to transform it to usable space by different types of strategies. So as you can see, there are many different types, like putting up wall shelves. So they're not designer, but then they design all these things. So they use cabinet shelf to build cooking areas, and then they because these tenants does not have a kitchen in the unit, so she had to build it herself. And for this one, it's my favorite. So these tenants use a bug bag to create a storage space for her daughters, 7-year-old daughters, with the ceiling. And then these storage spaces are crucial for her daughters to keep her childhood toy, because it carries her childhood memories and it marks her identity. So her mother can relate to it, and then she deliberately created space for her daughter. So I think this is a really mothering thing to do. And so they all use these different types of very makeshift way to create more space. And then it's transforming space. In the same area, they will have multiple purposes. So that may be the living room for children to play, and then also the spaces for the family to have dinner together and also to have leisure time. And then, so they're transforming the same space by using different types of items or furniture. And so this is another favorite of mine. So this talent, she's a mother. She tried to use this dining table to gather all her family members. There's 5 of them together because the unit is too small for the whole family to live together. So 2 of the family members, they have to sleep outside. So outside another unit, but not on the street. So she needs to calculate very meticulously about this the size of this table so that it can fit into that very tiny space in the unit. So this is a very basic family practice that we often taken for granted, which sit together and eat. But then for these talents, it needs a lot of calculations and meticulous planning. Okay. So the last one for homemaking strategy is to perform time-space management. It is not very desirable, but then it is actually a survival skill, because as you can see that in some units, the bathroom and then also the kitchen, they are kind of conjoined together. So they have to manage the schedule of using these two places so that they will not the family members will not compete for the space and then create lots of family conflicts. So it requires the fitting of the schedule of different family members. So that's a very tiring process too. Anyway, so let's move to the spaces that outside the unit, which is the spaces in the neighborhood. So these talents, they also try to domesticating all these neighborhood spaces to sustain their family lives, to meet their basic family needs that cannot be satisfied within their unit because it's so inadequate, right? So I kind of classify these spaces into three types. So the first type is shared spaces. So these spaces still exist in the building where the SDU located, but then it's kind of displayed in the shared area. So this is outside the units and then outside the apartment, and then so they will try to make it into a storage area, or they dry their clothes there, or they even cook there because they can't cook within the unit. But then it's also very complicated. I mean, the accessibility, because it is shared. So if you kind of cross the line, and then it will kind of annoy other users of this space. So you have to maintain that kind of invisible boundaries that can keep the equilibrium of the using of the space. So it's very complicated process and lots of negotiation. And the second type of space is familial space. So this is a very tricky thing. So initially these talents, they choose to live in this district. It is because that their extended family also live in this district, which is in the public housing that located in Kwai Ching. So living near their extended family can help them to mobilize familial network, and then to help them to satisfy their everyday life. So some of them, they send their children to their family homes, which is bigger and better for their children to play and work. And then so that's it's also a way to elevate the pressure within the unit. So this is a familial space that are also very crucial for them. And the last one is the open space, the public space and commercial space in the neighborhoods that they are living in. So as we can see that, so in these public spaces, they're trying to kind of using certain types of guerrilla tactics. They will use it because, of course, we know that it's heavily guarded. These spaces are policed, of course, and so they have to like kind of skillfully use it in a particular time and in a way that will not trigger the attention of the authority. So they will use it to dry clothes or to put some sofa chairs together and gather in this community. But they're not now. So this is the use of open space. Of course, there are also very many parks and other kind of open space in the environment that they often use it. And so another type of space is commercial space. There are lots of shopping malls and also markets and restaurants in the neighborhood. And of course, we know that they are capitalist or capitalized. So you have to consume in order to access this space. But then these tenants also use them or transform them into some resources that we cannot imagine. So In this McDonald's, for example, some of the children of the subdivided units family, they will attend online classes here during the pandemic because they have no stable Wi-Fi access at their home, so that they will go to McDonald's for the free Wi-Fi access for the online classes. So that's also not desirable, but then they are very agentically use these spaces for their own purpose. So this is the last slide of my presentation. I just want to draw your attention to the present situation. Since the fifth wave started, what we witnessed and what we observed from our interviewee is that their access to these neighborhood space are cut off. So they can't go to the park, they can't, many restaurants are closed, and then they are forced to stay in their unit, which make their life really hard. And so these presentations is showing individuals' resilience, so the individual strategy to elevate the very hard or difficult condition under structural inequality. So we really acknowledge these individuals' resilience, but then the question is, so without changing the structural dynamic or structural conditions, individual resilience are very fragile. So what we have to think about is that, of course, we acknowledge the agency of these talents, these disadvantaged group, but then also the next step would be how we can build resilience at a community or even a societal level. And I believe that it is the questions that we should think about after or during the pandemic. So that's all of my presentation. I hope that I'm not overrun too long. So I look forward to your question and thank you very much.
Okay, thanks Ruby Life for the very informative talk. We'll leave the Q&A section to the end. So let's welcome our second speaker, Ernest Poon, for the second talk first.
Hello， 咁多位，係咪而家睇到個 PowerPoint 啊？
見到。
好，唔該你。咁咧就我係Playwright Play Environment Team 嘅 Ernest 啦。咁好高興今次受邀出席，同大家一齊咧去探討韌性城市，尤其是係從小朋友同社區嘅角度。咁我本身都唔係一個即係 architect 嚟嘅，不過我同我即係好 talented 嘅團隊咧，一直咧都係好致力於建立一個尊重、保護同實踐兒童權利社會嘅嘅一個機構咁樣啦。咁其實咧自即係2019年年底個疫情爆發起嚟咧，咁社交嘅限聚措施都有多番嘅收緊啦。有啲時候又冇得上堂，有啲時候又要提早放暑假。室外室內嘅遊樂空間咧都即係有好幾次就被關閉啦。咁小朋友喺呢段時間咧都長期就被逼留喺屋企。咁我哋覺得咧就喺呢一段時間，去點樣去思考，去通過遊戲去培養小朋友嘅韌性，通過咧公共遊樂空間去發揮社區嘅韌性咧，呢個嘅討論咧比起以往任何嘅時候咧，都嚟得更加重要。咁所以咧，我哋就同拓展公共空間咧去合作啦。喺上年嘅5月至8月期間咧，就以問卷同訪談嘅形式咧，去了解2至15歲嘅兒童喺戶外遊戲嘅模式。喺疫情前同疫情之後，疫情期間有啲咩變化，同埋有啲咩影響咁樣。咁我哋當時咧就揀咗深水埗區咧作為我哋嘅研究嘅對象嘅。咁喺我哋講過嘅一啲嘅 result 之前咧，我哋都想講翻少少，就係話究竟遊戲同遊樂空間嘅重要性喺邊度？咁遊戲對於小朋友嘅發展啦同成長都好重要啊！佢可以促進到小朋友嘅體能嘅發展啦、社交溝通啦、情緒表達啦，同埋建立嘅自信。 咁喺我哋2018年美國兒科學會咧都有發表過一篇論文叫《Power of Play》，去重申遊戲嘅重要啦。甚至乎建議咧醫生以遊戲咧作為促進兒童健康嘅一個藥方添。咁我哋稍後咧會講到嘅一啲嘅遊樂空間咧，其實就唔單止係我哋普遍所理解嘅一啲有馬騮架啊、有千秋啊嗰啲有地隻嗰啲叫 formal 嘅play space 啊咁樣。因為小朋友其實咧都會用到其他嘅一啲公共空間去進行遊戲嘅，包括係屋邨嘅空地啦，包括可能係社區嘅一啲運動場啦、promenade 啦等等咁樣。咁所以咧，我哋一陣探討嘅公共遊樂空間咧，其實就包含晒我哋一啲所謂叫 formal 或者一啲 informal 嘅public play space 嘅。我哋首先咧，從個研究咧就睇到咧，小朋友喺疫情嘅期間咧，整體個遊戲都減少嘅，不論係遊戲日數同遊戲嘅時數啦。咁尤其是咧，以戶外遊戲嘅時間嘅跌幅咧，係更加為顯著嘅。同時咧，我哋都見到咧，就係小朋友都比較減少咗去較遠嘅地方去遊戲，選擇留喺屋企遊戲嘅家庭咧係大幅增加嘅。咁但係咧，佢哋又唔係話完全足不出戶嘅喎。我哋有留意到咧，就係疫情前同疫情期間咧，選擇去落街，可能一個好近距離，可能5分鐘步行距離嘅遊戲咧，其實都變化唔係有好大。咁但係咧，要再遠啲啦，即係行到15分鐘、30分鐘，甚至乎要搭車咧，個跌幅咧就開始明顯啦。咁我哋有留意到咧，當中住喺劏房同唐樓嘅家庭咧，佢喺屋企留喺屋企嘅遊戲嘅時間嘅升幅咧，係明顯係高好多嘅。咁但係其實咧就唔係因為其實如果我哋對比翻咧，唐樓家庭咧同所有嘅被訪嘅家庭咧，選擇喺疫情期間留喺屋企遊戲嘅數字咧，其實就差唔多嘅。佢升幅咁顯著咧，係主要喺疫情之前咧，唐樓家庭就甚少將佢哋嘅家居咧視為日常嘅遊戲空間。咁所以呢個升幅咧，我哋就見到係比起我哋整體個家庭咧係高出1倍嘅。除咗我哋睇遊戲嘅時間同埋咧遊戲嘅選址之外咧，我哋都有去了解咧遊戲嘅類型同遊戲嘅模式嘅。咁我哋會見到咧 social play 社交遊戲咧係喺疫情嘅期間咧係大幅度減少。咁當中亦都係啦，住喺唐樓同劏房戶嘅影響咧係尤其顯著嘅，個跌幅係達到咧係少咗40% 以上。喺訪談嘅期間咧，都有好多嘅家長咧表示佢哋嘅小朋友咧好渴望咧同佢哋嘅同伴一齊去遊戲啦。佢哋冇辦法咧喺公共空間或者係公共遊樂空間咧去揾翻佢哋嘅朋友仔、佢嘅鄰居，甚至乎佢哋嘅親戚一齊去玩咁樣。咁對於一啲啱啱搬入嚟個社區嘅家庭咧，係影響係特別之大嘅。咁我哋其中訪談裏邊咧，有啲嘅家庭咧就話佢原先係住喺土瓜灣嘅，咁啱啱搬咗入嚟深水埗之後咧，就開始爆發個疫情啦。咁以前咧，佢喺土瓜灣住咧，都即係個小朋友都會喺學校同同學一齊玩啦。但係嚟到深水埗，即係咁啱疫情一爆發起嚟咧，又返唔到學啦，又冇乜點落街啦，就識唔到朋友仔啊，冇得同大家一齊玩咁樣。另外咧，我哋都有了解到咧，就係話究竟咧爸爸媽媽係考慮啲咩嘢先至可以俾小朋友落街玩嘅咧咁樣。咁啊，俾翻少少嘅背景俾大家認識，就係當我哋上年做呢一個嘅研究嘅時候咧，其實個疫情咧就開始係轉趨穩定嘅。咁由3月開始咧，即係上年3月開始咧，確診個案咧就一直都維持個位數啦。咁而去到4月咧，遊樂場已經係即係重開㗎啦。而5月份咧，大部分嘅個案咧，其實都係一啲嘅輸入嘅個案啦，就見唔到本地有好明顯嘅一啲嘅傳播鏈。咁但係即便係咁咧，我哋問到啲家長咧，當時都只係得14% 左右嘅家長咧，係認為當時係適合俾小朋友咧 到室外咧去遊戲嘅。另外咧就有大概有30%嘅家長咧認為咧，如果確診數字咧係進一步減少咧，佢哋就會更加安心俾小朋友嘅遊戲啦。亦都有大概2成嘅家長咧認為，如果本地嘅接種疫苗嘅接種率可以進一步提高咧，佢哋會放心一啲。咁至於限聚令啊、口罩令嘅放寬咧，就似乎唔係一個好 significant 嘅 factor。咁但係有趣嘅係咧，呢度都想特別去講一講咧，就係當中有7% 嘅家長咧係話希望遊樂場可以重開翻遊樂場咧，佢哋就可以即係放心俾小朋友外出㗎啦。咁但係其實咧，佢哋填寫呢份問卷嘅時候咧，遊樂場已經係開咗㗎啦。咁亦都説明咧，原來就係即係一啲嘅政策嘅變化咧，其實家長係未必係最 update 嘅。咁雖然我哋呢個研究咧係集中係去了解小朋友嘅遊戲啦，咁但係咧喺訪談裏邊咧都有好多嘅家長咧就講下咧就講咗小朋友嘅一啲學業啊，咁佢哋都係即係非常之緊張佢哋嘅一啲嘅學業嘅進度啦。佢哋有表示咧就係小朋友好多都喺屋企咧進行線上學習咧就唔係好專心，係啦。咁所以咧，佢哋都希望就係可以俾小朋友花多啲嘅時間喺學業上面啦。咁變相咧就係當學校閂咗之後咧，佢直接嘅影響係小朋友嘅學業啦，亦從而咧係去擠壓咗小朋友嘅遊戲嘅一啲嘅機會同遊戲嘅一個時間嘅。咁有啲爸爸媽媽咧就有講到，其實就係話佢哋會即係把握可能係喺返學嘅一啲嘅路途上面咧，或者係買菜嘅期間咧，喺附近就去擺低個小朋友喺附近嘅公園或者係遊樂場玩啦。有啲嘅家長咧，亦都要講到就係話，要等佢哋做晒功課咧，去到夜晚可能去到11點咧，先至可以俾佢哋嘅遊戲嘅。咁喺呢一個嘅研究度咧，我哋好深感受有3樣嘢嘅，就係咧，第一，遊戲咧係家庭生活同公共生活咧好重要嘅一環。咁小朋友咧係藉住遊戲啦，同即係家人啦、鄰舍啦、同朋友咧去建立一個社交嘅聯繫嘅，而改變咗呢一個嘅防疫嘅政策咧，係對小朋友嘅社交咧帶嚟好大嘅影響。當我哋閂咗啲學校、閂咗啲公共遊樂空間，佢哋唔單止係話即係冇得返學同冇得玩嘅，因為公共遊樂空間同學校咧，其實佢仲有一個好重要嘅作用咧，就係俾小朋友同俾家長咧做一個社區嘅連結。而我哋睇到咧，戶外遊戲啦，同埋校園生活咧，係冇辦法好輕易被在家遊戲或者線上學習所取代嘅。咁當呢啲嘅場所咧長期被關閉嘅時候咧，即係爸爸媽媽就需要用好多嘅方法啦，好多自己嘅方法同資源咧，去滿足返小朋友從學習、遊戲到社交嘅一啲嘅需要。而條件唔係好充裕嘅家庭咧，其實喺個訪談度都有同我哋反映，佢哋係當時係非常感覺到無助嘅。咁仲有一點咧，就係關於照顧者，關於爸爸媽媽咧係點樣去perceive，點樣去理解同評估安全或者風險啊？係嘅，即係當我哋見到啲數字就已經回落咗咯喎，或者係有啲政策都放寬咗啦啊，遊樂場都開返啦，咁但係咧爸爸媽媽依然咧係好多都好謹慎嘅。咁所以並唔係話即係有政府嘅專家有學者講咗啲乜嘢咧，或者政策有直接嘅改變咧，啲爸爸媽媽就已經即刻可以俾小朋友落返街玩㗎啦，係啦。咁啊好多家長都有表示，即使遊樂場開返咧，佢哋都好擔心小朋友外出嘅。咁當然啦，我哋當時做嗰個嘅訪問咧，比而家咧係已經係個疫情係緩和好多啦。咁但係而家咁嚴峻啊個疫情啊，大家都冇得落街玩啊。咁 Playwright 都想同大家一齊去想像下咧，就係當我哋個疫情可能再控制得好啲啦，咁社會可以如何去復原？我哋又可以做啲乜嘢俾小朋友重新出去玩？透過遊戲去提升小朋友、家庭同社區嘅一啲嘅韌性咧。 咁首先咧，我想從唔同嘅社區嘅持份者開始講起啦，咁樣。咁咧右手邊嗰幅圖咧，其實就係英國 Bristol 一個叫做Playing Out 嘅一個組織。咁佢哋咧長期咧都協助一啲嘅社區咧去開展一啲叫街道遊戲啊，就封咗條街度玩咁樣。咁點解咧？其實我覺得呢一點咧都好值得我哋去思考，因為喺香港咧有好多嘅社區咧都真係好缺乏一啲嘅遊樂空間。即使開翻晒啲康文署嘅公園，開翻晒啲遊樂場咧，其實咧有啲嘅區份咧都係好欠缺一啲優質嘅遊樂空間嘅。喺2017年咧都有份立法會嘅報告咧，有睇翻咧原來一啲嘅 designated 嘅 play space 康文署轄下嘅遊樂空間啊。全港嚟講咧，我哋小朋友平均只能夠得0.27個 meter square 嘅遊樂空間嘅，當中有啲區份咧係更加少嘅，因為個 distribution 唔係 even 嘅。頭先阿 Ruby 講到，譬如可能葵青區啊，呢啲亦都係一啲好明顯好欠缺遊樂空間嘅社區嚟嘅。咁所以咧，我哋都好希望就係話咧，我哋嘅一啲嘅社區嘅持份者咧，可以即係用一啲有creative 啲嘅方法咧，運用到一啲嘅社區嘅 underutilized 嘅空間，可能係學校啦、教會啦，或者社區中心，用啲嘅創新嘅方式咧，去創造一啲合適嘅遊樂空間嘅。咁頭先我哋即係喺呢一幅畫面見到係外國嘅一啲嘅喺街度玩遊戲啦，唔單止英國有嘅街道遊戲，喺台灣、新加坡同澳洲都有嘅。咁香港又可唔可以做到咧？咁其實咧 Playwright 咧喺第4波同第5波疫情，即係其實上年暑假講到好似好遠啊，即係其實都係講係幾個月之前嘅事情，係啦，即係呢個暑假嚟得太突然啦。其實咧我哋有好積極咧，就係去打造翻一個落街玩嘅氛圍，咁就同唔同嘅社區嘅持份者一齊合作咁樣。咁包括咧呢一度你見到嘅就係長洲嘅一間學校啦，我哋用學校嘅操場一齊玩啦。呢個係深水埗區嘅一個天台啦，係啦，即係冇錯，地方唔係好多，咁我哋就向高空發展啦，係啦。咁啊好好啊，即係啲街坊幫我哋咧抬晒啲物資上去，咁啊搭建一啲臨時嘅一啲嘅 pop up 嘅 play space。呢度咧就係青衣區嘅一個嘅社區中心嘅一個平台咁樣，係啦。咁所以咧，其實咧呢啲嘅空間咧，我哋都可以考慮下，其實都可以攞嚟玩㗎喎，咁樣。咁呢啲嘅空間有啲乜嘢嘅優勢，或者有啲乜嘢嘅好處咧？同我哋平時講緊一啲嘅 designated 嘅 play space 咁樣。咁頭先我哋都有講過，其實咧家長係好多嘅即係憂慮啦，即係俾翻小朋友落街玩咁樣。而我哋咧問嗰啲嘅受訪嘅即係家長咧，佢哋都好即係好多時候都有提到就係咧，讓佢哋可以安心俾小朋友落街玩咧嘅遊樂空間咧，通常都具備幾個條件嘅。佢通常可能係乾淨㗎啦、衞生㗎啦，即係唔係好多人㗎啦咁樣。咁呢啲都喺即係香港咁密，即係咁密度咁高嘅地方咧，要話揾個冇乜人嘅遊樂空間都唔係咩咁容易嘅，尤其是啲好玩嘅啲添。咁仲有一點咧，佢哋有提到咧，就係如果嗰個遊樂空間有好多相熟嘅街坊，有好多相熟嘅面孔咧，佢哋會更加放心俾子女去嗰個地方玩嘅。咁其中我哋有個訪問都講到，有個爸爸媽媽喺疫情期間，即係應該係上年啦，唔係而家咁嚴峻嘅時候啦。佢通常點會落去玩咧？就係佢約到啲相熟嘅爸爸媽媽帶埋啲小朋友落去玩嘅時候咧，佢就 OK 㗎啦咁樣。佢因為佢知道咧，就係即係另外啲嘅小朋友咧，當佢玩到啲口罩又飛甩晒啊咁樣，即係隻手又周圍摸嘢啊。咁但係咧，對方嘅家長咧都會去監督佢，都會 supervise 佢去做好一啲嘅防疫嘅一啲嘅措施。咁有一啲嘅相熟嘅面孔，其實係讓佢哋咧更加安心嘅。咁所以我哋正都亦都係因為咁啦，我哋覺得好多嘅社區嘅持份者，如果可以用到佢哋一啲嘅underutilized 嘅空間咧，去打造一啲我哋可以凝聚到一啲嘅街坊一齊去遊戲嘅空間咧，係有利大家 喺一個疫情更加緩和嘅時候咧，大家出翻嚟去玩嘅。喺個同時咧，其實唔單止小朋友可以重新建立一啲嘅社交關係啦，其實咧家長們都係嘅。咁我哋都有喺個訪談度講到咧，就係話原來啲爸爸媽媽帶小朋友去玩，然後啲爸爸媽媽其實就交換好多嘅社區嘅情報同資訊，包括係一啲嘅防疫嘅資訊咁樣樣。咁啊，除咗係一啲嘅社區嘅持份者咧，我哋都希望喺一啲即係遊樂空間嘅管理者咧，都有啲嘢可以一齊做嘅。咁首先咧就係我哋見到就係頭先都有講到，就係話一啲居所空間不足嘅家庭咧，佢哋在家遊戲嘅壓力同困難係好高嘅。而我哋睇翻海外嘅一啲嘅做法咧，當佢哋要去因應疫情嘅期間去關閉同開放一啲嘅遊樂空間、一啲遊樂設施咧，佢哋都鼓勵即係相關嘅部門咧，唔係一刀切，一下子就關晒所有嘅遊樂空間，或者一下子又要即係等齊晒所有嘅即係好嘅條件，又要一次過重開啊，而係佢哋會了解翻、睇翻邊啲嘅區份佢哋嘅遊樂空間嘅需要，去優先去開放俾有需要嘅一啲嘅家庭，或者有需要嘅一啲嘅社區啊。另外咧，我諗我哋都需要去思考一下，點解頭先我哋有一啲嘅家庭咧，就係原來明明遊樂空間都開返，原來佢哋都唔知嘅咧咁樣樣。咁所以我哋都希望可以讓到公眾咧係更加好咁去掌握相關嘅資訊，同埋了解返咧開放同或者關閉遊樂空間呢個條件。咁講到 communication 啦，其實咧我哋都好深刻嘅感受咧，就係前線嘅工作人員咧，佢對於遊戲嘅認知同安全嘅意識咧，除咗係影響到一啲叫做 management 或者 maintenance 嘅一啲嘅工作嘅成效咧，佢哋亦都好影響到咧使用者對於即係去玩嘅一啲嘅信心。咁我呢度講一個即係一個有趣嘅案例啦，就係我哋前幾年咧就同一間學校嘅小朋友咧一齊咧去做透過一個 participatory 嘅一個 design process 咧，去設計咗一個遊樂場咁樣樣。咁大概1年多之後咧，遊樂場開放嘅時候，咁我哋又揾翻呢班同學仔一齊去 celebrate 啦。咁落到去玩嘅時候咧，其實因為都過咗一段嘅時間啦，有啲小朋友都大個咗啦，甚至乎咧由高中咧高小啊升到初中啊，去咗讀中一啦。咁當時咧一齊去玩，大家好興高采烈嘅時候咧，突然有個即係前線嘅工作人員就同個即係比較發育得比較大隻嘅一個小朋友講：你唔玩得㗎，呢度你太大個啦咁樣樣。咁其實咧呢一啲嘅即係前線嘅一啲嘅工作人員，佢哋點樣辨識個風險？即係譬如頭先講到啊，比較大嘅小朋友同細嘅小朋友一齊玩，或者係佢哋玩緊某啲嘅設施啊，佢個風險嘅辨識係唔係正確，以至到佢係咪真係可以 respond 得到呢啲嘅風險咧？其實係直接影響到使用者可以點樣用到嗰個遊樂空間，以至到使用者嘅信心嘅。咁呢一點咧，其實喺2020年嘅申訴專員公署嘅一份主動調查報告咧，都有講到一啲嘅房屋署嘅一啲嘅維修保養嘅一啲嘅管理嘅方式，其實都有啲嘅改善嘅一啲嘅空間啦。另外咧，我哋就想即係從設計或者係從規劃嘅角度去諗一諗啦。好多嘅研究咧都有指出咧，其實小朋友接觸大自然咧，對於抗壓、對於免疫力咧都有啲嘅正面嘅影響嘅。好多嘅證據咧都表示喺自然環境遊戲咧對小朋友有治療嘅作用添。咁雖然咧香港有好豐富嘅即係天然資源啦，咁我哋喺疫情期間咧我相信大家都有去下行山啊，去下海灘啊，咁啊香港係好方便已經可以接觸到大自然嘅。咁但係咧，我哋要留意翻咧，就係小朋友咧同大人嘅 mobility 係唔可以睇齊嘅。小朋友有咩機會可以去到咁遠嘅郊野公園咧？咁咪就係要等埋爸爸媽媽有時間陪佢，同佢一齊搭車嘅時候先得咯，咁樣樣。 小朋友最多可以接觸到大自然嘅空間咧，其實大自然嘅機會咧，其實都係喺翻佢喺居所附近、喺學校附近嘅一啲嘅即係 urban park 或者一啲嘅遊樂場、一啲嘅公園啦咁樣。咁但係我哋睇翻咧，佢哋最多去接觸嘅呢啲嘅公園咧，佢哋係啊，佢哋好多樹㗎，好多即係自然嘅元素㗎，但係咧佢哋往往都好似一個 backdrop 咁嘅，即係冇得玩嘅，冇得互動嘅。咁所以我哋都希望呢個社會可以有多啲更加多元嘅自然遊戲嘅機會啊！甚至乎可以將自然元素同遊戲咧有更加有機地咁去配合。除咗係多啲嘅自然遊戲嘅機會咧，我哋都好希望咧大家可以重新去正視翻咧遊樂空間對於凝聚社區嘅作用同意義。我哋平時講即係遊樂場啦，係一啲叫做 recreation 嘅或者 leisure 嘅一啲嘅 land use 啦咁樣。咁但係佢唔單止係一個叫休閒嘅使用嚟嘅，係其實喺好多嘅城市咧。
Play space is not only an area for recreation。
性嘅基礎設施嘅規劃裏邊一啲嘅 social infrastructure。咁我哋平時咧就即係譬如疫情期間，我哋都要講話即係我哋嘅 logistic 好緊要啊，我哋嘅即係水電金融都好緊要啊。呢啲基礎設施，呢啲喺大富翁都有得玩嘅，都買到嘅 utility 啦嚇，都買到嘅 infrastructure 啊。呢啲嘅 infrastructure 對於個城市嘅正常嘅運作係攸關重要嘅。咁但係咧，除咗呢一啲嘅即係 infrastructure 之外咧，社會性嘅一啲嘅基礎設施，我哋 social infrastructure 咧都係非常之重要嘅。呢啲嘅設施咧係讓到社會嘅資本得以發揮作用嘅一啲嘅實際嘅條件嚟嘅。我哋頭先講到嘅遊樂空間同學校，以至到圖書館，除咗佢哋本身嘅功能去玩、去即係去 being educate 或者去借書之外啦，佢都可以促進到人際嘅交流啦、情感嘅聯繫啦，更加有利去培養社區嘅歸屬感同強化社區嘅韌性。一旦咧呢啲嘅社會性嘅基礎設施係即係 function 唔到咧，其實市民咧就好難去融入社區，亦都喪失咗去彼此去協作同埋支援嘅一啲能力。正正因為咁咧，我哋都希望咧就係我哋可以去完善翻我哋嘅遊樂空間嘅一個嘅規劃嘅標準啦，去制定全面同家庭兒童友善嘅一啲嘅遊樂空間嘅政策。正如我哋頭先都有講到啦，我哋而家嘅遊樂空間嘅即係分佈咧係唔係好平均嘅？咁究竟邊啲嘅地區係需要多啲嘅遊樂空間，或者係邊啲地區我哋平時會叫做一啲叫 play deficit 啦，係冇乜得玩嘅機會嘅一啲嘅社區咧咁樣。咁要做到呢樣嘢咧，我哋好希望咧，當局係可以去審計翻唔同區嘅遊樂空間嘅一啲嘅 provision 啦、一啲嘅供應啦，同埋實際嘅人口嘅需要啊。咁我右邊呢幅圖咧，其實就係喺台灣佢哋做嘅一個嘅 play space 嘅一個 mapping 啦。咁睇翻即係當區嘅人口同埋唔同類型嘅遊樂空間佢哋嘅 coverage。咁香港係咪都可以做到咧？咁樣其實唔係咁難做嘅。我哋有即係如果我哋有一啲叫做開放嘅一啲嘅數據咧，公民團體都可以做到嘅。不過而家唔係咁容易啦。Playwright 我哋過去都有做嘅，我哋就派同事就上山下海咁樣逐個遊樂場去盤點啦。咁樣其實係好唔 efficient 嘅一個做法嚟嘅。咁啊我哋都希望就係當我哋去制定呢個嘅標準嘅時候，或者係制定呢個即係一個規劃嘅一個準則嘅時候咧，個過程咧，我哋都希望可以聽翻小朋友嘅聲音，喺每個嘅程序咧都可以讓小朋友同家庭咧有個適度嘅一個參與。咁我最後咧我都有少少嘅總結啦。呢段期間咧，小朋友係比起我哋即係以往每一代人嘅童年啊，都嚟得更加即係孤單嘅。咁所以咧，我哋好希望咧，即係喺我哋去想像一個即係社區復原，想像一個後疫情嘅一個社會嘅時候咧，我哋可以多啲去創造，讓小朋友、讓家庭都安心去落街玩嘅一啲有利嘅條件。要創造呢啲有利嘅條件咧，係需要各方嘅一啲嘅即係一啲嘅共同嘅努力嘅。不論係我哋嘅設計嘅 設計嘅持份者啊、規劃嘅持份者啊，以至到係管理嘅持份者同埋社區嘅持份者咧，都可以大家一齊攜手去合作咁樣樣。更加多嘅戶外嘅遊樂嘅機會咧，係更加有利社區嘅連結，同埋促進到疫後嘅復原，加強到社區嘅韌性。咁我好希望咧，可以有機會再喺陽光底下咧，就再同大家見面，唔使好似而家我咁樣對住個 mon 咁樣同大家傾偈。好，我講到呢度咁多先，唔該晒。
好多謝 Ernest 嘅分享。咁我哋有2條問題係觀眾問嘅，係英文問嘅。The first question is to Ruby and the second is also to Ruby. The audience asks, do you have any experience or idea on how the resilience of this subdivided unit resident could build up as a larger community, because they are currently dealing with the problem themselves, or the make do in the individual effort as mentioned by the audience? And are there any external aids such as the social service that the household could seek? And the second question is, do you think the subdivided unit should be completely replaced by the subsidized housing, or these units has a value to be stayed in the community or the society?
So thank you for your questions. Shall I answer it in English or Cantonese? Both okay or what? I'm okay. Maybe English.
Either way is fine. Carla will do the translation, but to do it like 講慢少少。
You mean English or Cantonese?
I'll
try to. Oh, okay. 我簡單答啦，因為都好，即係你問嘅問題係一個政策上面一個即係啲制度嘅問題。咁第一樣嘢啦，就係佢哋有冇啲即係 social service，佢哋係有 social service 嘅，即係同埋就係佢哋好多呢一啲即係我所去 identify 嘅 spatial strategies， 係 which is 係佢哋作為一個 agent， 佢哋點樣去即係喺佢哋能力底下去做嘢。咁但係即係喺佢哋嘅生活係，如果冇咗啲 social service 咧，佢哋係好難維持嘅，係啦，係 impossible to 維持嘅。咁啲 social service 係 include 一啲 NGOs 啦，即係特別係關注劏房嘅 NGOs 啦，喺個 community 裏面係啦。咁所以啲劏房嘅家庭佢哋可以維持到。
NGOs
係必須要存在嘅。
And we think
就唔係一個 spatial resources， 但係一個 social resources。係啦，咁呢一樣嘢係一定啦。咁如果係要翻去同我哋主題相關少少嘅一啲 resources 咧，就即係其實係講 space 啦。其實可能同 Ernest 講嘅都會有一啲聯繫嘅，就係我哋嘅 observation 就係覺得咧，喺社區裏面咧唔一定係 play space 啦，但係一啲 voluntary 嘅 space 咧係好重要嘅。咁咩係 voluntary space 咧？其實係類似就係一啲 NGOs 啊，即係其實佢哋嘅 centre 啦。即係基本上就係有晒頭先 Ernest 講嘅一啲家長覺得即係 OK 俾啲細路自己落去玩嘅一啲 condition， 即係例如佢有人去 monitor 啦，有一啲即係佢哋信得過嘅人，即係例如啲 social workers 啊，咁樣喺嗰度 station 咧，即係俾佢啲小朋友去 access 嗰個 space。咁但係呢啲 voluntary space 咧又唔係淨係 play space， 佢都要 serve multiple purposes 嘅，係啦，即係佢可以去嗰度煮嘢食啦，佢可以洗衫啦，可以喺嗰度即係即係做乜，即係做乜都唔會有人干擾。所以呢啲 space 喺一個咁即係比較 deprived 或者係一個比較 low income 嘅 neighborhood 咧，其實係必須要存在嘅，或者係應該要更多嘅。即係我覺得應該要，因為當你個即係 space 係 highly commercialized 嘅話咧，其實係冇辦法去做到呢一樣嘢。跟住另外一個 point 就係、即係都係第一條問題啦，就係、一個 virtual space 嘅一個 exploration。即係因為而家個 pandemic 咁樣咧，基本上即係你冇辦法係實體去玩啦，去上堂啊咁。咁我哋而家就係只能夠 provide 一啲 online class 啊，或者係一啲即係 online 嘅 exposure 俾啲小朋友。咁呢個算唔算係一個 alternative？ 係呢個係一個唔係好 desirable 嘅 alternative。但係如果係given that 呢個即係 pandemic 嘅 situation， 我哋可唔可以 explore 多少少喺一個 virtual 嘅狀態，俾佢哋繼續可以 cultivate 到嗰種同社區嘅聯繫？咁我諗呢個係我哋係 at this moment 係要諗嘅嘢。咁第二個問題啦，即係咪 completely 即係 replaced by subsidized housing？ 就即係將佢 eliminate 啊，即係好似我哋嘅即係國家領導都會講就係話，我哋要將即係劏房擺一個終結咁樣係咪？即係當然我哋希望終結，但係我哋要諗清楚就係劏房點解出嚟先，即係點解會出嚟係因為我哋即係呢個 housing 嘅呢個問題啊嘛，即係一個 housing problem 本身，或者係個 land use 本身嘅一啲政策上嘅一個即係促成嘅即係嘅一個問題。咁所以佢唔係一啲即係我哋係要保育嘅嘢啦，即係佢哋係一啲冇，即係啦，佢哋嘅存在係唔應該存在嘅，即係正常係咪？你住喺100尺度，點都係俾5000蚊先得㗎，係咪？即係呢個係一個 consequences of 個政策嘅問題。咁係咪完全係 subsidised housing 就 OK 咧？其實我哋梗係希望，如果係 OK 嘅話，大家可以即係唔係 subsidize 添啦，自己買樓添啦，係咪？即係一個即係 adequate use of space 同埋一個係大家係一個比較 equal access to space 嘅，或者 housing 嘅，即係可能呢個係我哋即係希望要存在嘅。咁但係翻嚟劏房呢一樣嘢就係其實係同我哋之前即係香港喺一個房屋政策嘅歷史裏面一個即係其實係一個延續嚟嘅，就係我哋會將一啲 squatter area 或者 squatter settlement 一啲係 informal housing 變成一個 buffer， 即係個 buffer zone， 即係我哋冇辦法，所以我哋需要佢哋。咁其實我諗劏房都係一種咁樣嘅狀態。咁所以你話係唔係即係有冇 value 咧？都有一個 functional 嘅 value 咯，就係佢會 satisfy 咗呢個 unsatisfied 嘅 housing demand。咁但係我哋係咪要即係希望佢繼續 perform 呢個 function？ 如果有一個好啲 alternative， 我希望唔係佢哋咯。係啦，就係咁。
明白。咁如果冇觀眾問題，不如我問 Ernest 問題啊。咁你頭先提到話想改善呢啲 play space 或者 play area 嘅，咁有提到嗰啲area 同數目。咁依你所見，其實除咗嗰個分佈之外，入邊嗰內容，即係啲遊戲好唔好玩，遊樂設施好唔好玩，或者佢本身個 design 會唔會都會影響到啲小朋友用唔用嗰笪地方嘅？
會啊，我唔知大家對於遊樂場嘅 impression 係啲咩啦，即係可能好多嘅 audience 今日喺度咧，對遊樂場可能係好陌生啦，因為距離我哋上一次玩嘅時候，可能已經係好耐之前嘅事情咁樣。咁而我哋即係都有問翻，或者如果你留意一下我哋即係有機會啦，而家比較難啦。去遊樂場玩嘅小朋友，佢哋嘅歲數去到幾多歲咧？可能去到高小已經開始越嚟越少見㗎啦。係啊，初中即係講緊12、13歲更加見唔到佢哋添啦咁樣。咁其實就係因為我哋嘅設計咧，可能都係傾向係着重安全多過着重可能係一啲叫做 challenge 啊，一啲 creative 嘅一啲嘅 play 嘅 experience 啊，咁變咗咧，其實咧就係佢哋都係好嘅，咁佢哋可能咪就係適合一啲比較細個嘅小朋友咯，係啦，即係可能係5歲至到8歲嘅小朋友，佢可以 satisfy 到佢哋嘅 play 嘅 needs， 係啦，咁但係再大啲嘅小朋友，佢開始有其他嘅一啲嘅 play 嘅 needs 嘅時候，我哋又要諗下我哋而家嘅設計，我哋嘅城市嘅遊樂空間係咪可以滿足到佢哋咧咁樣樣？當你發現你都滿足唔到佢哋嘅時候，佢哋可能都會去嘅。咁咪就係去到跟住就開始玩完一輪之後，就問阿媽攞部手機俾佢咯。係啦，咁你就會開始會見到佢又玩手機啦，阿媽又玩手機啦咁樣。咁所以就説明咗，都側面都説明咗，其實喺我哋嘅設計度，可能係仲有一啲係需要改善，或者係要去滿足一啲嘅小朋友嘅需要。我哋唔好將小朋友理解佢哋係同一班人，其實佢哋係有好 diverse 嘅 needs 嘅，由 toddler 到係一啲 preschool 到 school age 嘅小朋友，佢哋本身嘅身體嘅發展，佢哋嘅遊戲嘅發展已經唔一樣㗎啦。咁我哋嘅遊樂空間有冇滿足到咁闊嘅呢個 spectrum 咧？咁呢個我哋就要去諗一諗啦。
咁有位叫 Sarah Lee 嘅，佢問就好多謝你哋嘅分享啦。咁就佢想問而家呢個情況其實會製造咗啲問題，即係有負面，其實都有啲正面，佢 佢話你哋會唔會 observe 到喺而家嘅情況係有啲正面嘅嘢睇到出嚟？即係呢個情況，好多人留喺屋企出唔到去玩啦，會唔會即係有利都有弊？即係除咗你哋講嘅問題之外，會唔會其實都會有少少好處咧？
咁我答先啦。咁對於劏房戶嚟講咧，個好處又真係未必會好大啦。即係因為佢哋即係本身已經係一個好細嘅地方，咁佢哋需要用好多屋企之外嘅一啲 space 咧，去幫佢哋滿足一啲日常嘅家庭需要。咁所以對於佢哋就 pandemic 嚟講咧，係一個好都幾致命下嘅打擊嚟嘅，即係其實好困難。即係但係如果你話有冇啲即係好嘅嘢咧，咁有 possibly 可能係一啲叫做好嘅狀態，就係即係我哋會即係都好 given that 佢哋有冇一啲好好嘅 NGO 嘅 support 嘅，即係譬如我哋有即係我哋嘅即係我而家合作緊個 NGO 啦，我哋會做一啲 online 嘅一啲class 俾佢哋啦，即係 schedule 咗每日都會有嘅咁樣，係啦，咁所以我頭先係講嗰個 virtual space 嗰嘢，咁當然我啲解決你日常生活你 real life 裏面嘅一啲即係所有嘅需要，咁但係亦都佢嗰個即係geographical 嘅 boundaries 係會即係 kind of 係可以 overcome 到咯，即係可能佢會have access to 好多which is 佢以前喺日常生活佢未必會接觸到嘅機構，或者係一啲主題或者 topic 或者即係whatever，即係所以我諗即係呢個係一個 possible 嘅好啦，咁但係我又唔可以講佢係好啦，咁但係即係個 possible 可以即係令佢哋嗰個圈子大啲嘅機會咯。咁但係你話 in terms of everyday life 嚟講咧，咁即係其實係好 harsh 嘅一個 situation 咯。係。
咁 Ernest 有冇啲睇法？有冇正面嘅事 observe 到？
呢條問題，因為我都唔係好諗到。但係我從Sarah 講到就係話，即係都因為個 pandemic 讓佢同佢嘅小朋友可以有多啲嘅時間喺屋企可以相處啦。咁因為我自己本身冇小朋友，我只係從我啲朋友或者我啲同事嘅分享，其實即便佢哋唔係住喺啲 subdivided flat，大家嘅居住嘅條件都有啲唔一樣。都唔係每一個家長，即係或者當一停課咧，對佢哋嚟講咧係通常我都聽到係好多嘅焦慮嘅，即使唔係講緊subdivided嘅 flat。咁因為可能每個嘅家庭每個家長佢哋嘅工作嘅性質有啲人唔一樣啦。就算有啲家長可以做到喺屋企開會啊，屋企做嘢啊，咁其實當一個空間同一個空間有好多種嘅 use 係被重疊嘅時候咧，嗰個爭奪係好犀利嘅。嗰個爭奪可直接啲去睇咧，就係阿爸要同一時間要做緊 manager，又要做緊阿爸，即係佢一邊同你開緊會，跟住阿仔就爬喺你隔離，你要同佢玩咧。咁其實呢一個嘅狀態咧，都喺呢一段時間好明顯。咁當然可能係會拉近咗大家啲嘅距離嘅。咁但係同時係咪每個人都可以咁安然咁有技巧地去處理到呢啲嘅 boundaries 或者呢啲嘅分工咧？咁樣，因為過去我哋返 office 做嘢，返屋企我就做返我喺屋企嘅一啲嘅崗位，但係而家就所有嘢都重疊起嚟咁樣。咁呢一個我相信對好多人嚟講都係個挑戰，都係幾大。
基於兩位 speaker 之前 share 過嘅 material 咧，我而家腦海裏邊諗緊就有兩個我哋傾緊嘅 potential exhibitors 啦。咁佢哋都對於你哋有興趣嘅問題提出咗一啲 potential 嘅 solution。咁我又唔知道，可能你哋會唔會覺得呢啲 solution 係 work 定唔 work？你知有好多時候，就我哋 propose design strategy 出嚟都真係有陣時 work，有陣時唔 work 啦。 其中一個 exhibitor 就話而家佢哋係做開幫劏房戶去點樣製造一啲 custom 嘅傢俬，去令到佢哋可以製造空間出嚟。就好似頭先 Ruby 講，如果啲空間你唔揾個辦法去用佢咧，咁你唔擺個架喺上面，嗰個空間就嘥咗㗎啦嘛。咁但係由於而家嘅疫情關係啦，咁就啲裝修師傅咧冇辦法去度尺啦，又冇辦法去裝嗰件架啦。咁於是乎咧就佢哋諗緊，不如我好似 IKEA 咁 design 一堆 toolkits， 咁然後 somehow 就咁 deliver 俾班劏房嘅住戶，咁等佢哋自己裝啦。呢個又係咪一個可行嘅方法？或者你哋見到會唔會有啲乜嘢嘅問題咧？呢個係第一。第二個咧就係講緊 makeshift play space 啊。咁細個一路阿媽都會話唔好喺條馬路度玩，好危險噶嘛。咁但係 Ernest 頭先你 show 咗一個precedent example，就話封條馬路玩咯咁樣，咁好 exciting 嘅。或者頭先 Ruby 都有 show 到另外一個就係喺條街度晾衫啦，which 我細個嘅時候成日都見到㗎啦。咁你喺個公園嗰度有欄杆，就係自然會有人晾棉被㗎啦。而家好似見少咗喎，係咪我哋社會嘅信任或者管理係更加嚴密咗，定係點樣樣？可能我已經問咗3個問題。或者
OK 好。我覺得係頭先你講嗰個係咪有即係幫佢哋設計傢俬樣嘢啦？即係其實我覺得係即係我自己都會覺得 amazing 嘅，即係幫佢設計傢俬。咁但係有一個practical 嘅 consideration 就係咧，佢哋成日搬啊，即係有一啲人咧，佢哋可能係經常性會搬啦，因為你嗰啲即係劏房會可能同啲鄰居又唔好啦，或者即係個接住要加租啦。咁所以其實咧，如果你即係 based on佢嗰個 shape 去 tailor made 做一樣傢俬咧，有機會咧佢好難搬走，或者可以去到個新嘅地方佢好難用翻，係啦，或者嗰個 effectiveness 或者佢用即係嗰個即係好處咧，佢未必咁 fit 啊，即係喺個新嘅地方。咁所以呢個係一個我認為啦，即係一個好 customize 嘅一個即係傢俬咧嘅一個 potential 嘅問題係啦。咁但係譬如頭先你 propose 嗰樣嘢就係話係譬如一啲 materials，provide 啲 toolkits，或者可能係拍片教佢哋整嘅咁，即係呢一種咁flexible 嘅方法咧，其實我覺得可能一個係可以即係 explore 嘅一個 direction，因為其實好多我訪問嘅劏房嘅家庭咧，其實佢哋好 skillful 嘅，即係佢完全知道咗我喺一個咁細嘅地方我需要啲咩嘢，我可以點整，我可以點執啲位。咁我從而就係最即係best benefit 我哋家庭嘅，即係其實佢係非常之有 agency，咁但係佢係需要一啲 materials，因為佢冇一個 resources， 即係呢個 financial resources 同埋冇個 expertise。咁但係如果你話喺呢啲方面你可以即係 provide 到俾佢咧，其實我覺得呢個都係一個好即係好 promising 嘅一個 direction 咯，係啊。
我都同意啊。其實即係當然。custom made 有 custom made 嘅 merits， 但係我感受到對於即係 subdivided flats 嘅 tenants 嚟講咧，我諗更加重要嘅 keyword 除咗係 custom made 之外，就係adaptive 咯，要嚇嗰樣嘢係要變到嘅咁樣，嗰樣嘢係要因應唔同嘅情況要有好大嘅彈性嘅，即使唔係話要搬啊，而係可能小朋友升小學啦咁樣，突然之間你好多書簿咯喎咁樣，咁都要有所變化咯。而佢哋亦都正係因為佢哋嘅資源好匱乏，佢哋都歷練咗佢哋呢一種好 adaptive 嘅呢一種嘅空間嘅使用咁樣，或者家具嘅使用。咁所以我喺度諗到咧，就係話其實譬如喺歐美地區咧，佢哋嘅圖書館係會除咗係借書之外，即係借書以至到係咁樣去推廣知識啦 knowledge 啦，佢哋仲會借工具咯，係啦，因為唔係個個人都有把鋸喺屋企噶嘛，唔係個個都有電鑽噶嘛，係啦，即係冇理由個個家庭都買一把咁樣。咁但係有啲時候，當你要用到某啲東西嘅時候，你就可以有個地方去借到呢啲工具，幫你去做到你要做嘅一啲嘅改造咁樣。咁除咗係工具之外，就係個知識本身啊，就係原來你改造家具點樣可以整得穩陣啲啊？咁呢啲嘅知識嘅交流都會喺圖書館度會有咯。 咁台灣都有㗎，台灣都會可能即係有啲嘅社區喺樓下就會有個檔仔，就擺晒啲工具喺度，亦都有定期有啲師傅，即係又係好多年嘅經驗啊，佢都好樂於去同啲街坊去交流一啲修理嘅一啲嘅知識。其實香港都有㗎，之前我哋都有維修香港，有一班義工去上去，但係就最重要嗰樣嘢都係我哋可唔可以好有機動地去將呢啲嘅 resources 係包括係好 tangible 一塊木、一粒螺絲定係一個電鑽，以至到係talented 嘅或者好 skillful 嘅人手，可以好機動咁樣去運用到呢一啲嘅東西，我諗就最幫到佢哋咯。我跟住嗰兩條問題，我記得係講 play space，我已經唔記得係啲咩，可唔可以
係一個 informal 嘅 play space，譬如好似攞咗或者係 informal 嘅 public space usage 啊，就好似晾棉被啦，或者係喺樓下個停車場架車洗走咗之後，就喺嗰度踢波咁樣。咁呢啲又喺實際運作上又係咪真係咁完美？點可以咁 ideal？點可以做到？會唔會引起一啲 user 嘅一啲 conflict？
我先講咗個 merit 先，即係話究竟一個 structure 嘅 play space 有滑梯有馬騮架嘅，同我哋頭先我畫面俾大家見到嘅一啲簡單 loose part， 有個嗰啲充氣嗰啲水池咁樣嚇，呢兩種嘅畫面其實佢哋都有佢哋嘅 merit 嘅，因為佢哋provide 緊唔同類型嘅一啲嘅 play experience。咁好 structure 嗰啲，當然我哋可以做到好有挑戰性啦。咁但係對小朋友嚟講，其實有啲時候唔係一個 unfinished 嘅 play space， 一個可以俾佢哋去發揮佢哋創意嘅遊樂空間咧，其實都係好好玩嘅。其實咁但係正如頭先所講，就係話當我哋都recognize 佢哋嘅 merit 嘅時候，我哋又諗下，咦有冇佢所面對嘅相關一啲嘅挑戰咧？尤其是喺呢啲 pop up 嘅一啲 informal 嘅 play space， 會嘅，因為我哋有啲時候都會側目嘅。哇！你咁樣俾個小朋友咁樣衝出去玩，喺條街度玩唔危險嘅咩？咁樣唔好話對個小朋友危險啦，你泊咗啲車喺度對部車唔危險咩？咁樣即係都會有啲咁樣嘅 concern 嘅。咁所以其實不論喺邊個地區，不論喺香港我哋自己做，到我頭先分享英國、澳洲等地去做一啲pop up 嘅 play， 不論喺條街定係喺個社區中心度玩，個對同唔同嘅持份者嘅溝通係好重要嘅，係啦。點樣去凝聚到個社區，建立嗰個共識？不如我哋今個 weekend 一齊玩下啦咁樣。點樣玩好啊？呢一個嘅 communication 係就係一個基礎嚟嘅。咁所以點解我哋話，當我哋思考、我哋想像一個社區嘅復原嘅時候，可以透過一個遊戲嘅空間，唔單止係去玩咁簡單，而係去創建同規劃呢個遊戲空間，呢個可能只係一個 pop up 嘅一個 play space 嘅過程，其實都係讓我哋重新連結。重新去建立信任嘅一個好好嘅一個契機嚟嘅。咁我相信應該冇乜人會反對俾小朋友一個好即係開心啲嘅童年，或者一個好開心嘅一個下午，即係冇呢個唔係一個咁 controversial 嘅一個議題啦。起碼我哋都係有好多嘅 common ground。咁但係實際執行嘅時候，我哋咪因應嗰個嘅地區，因應嗰個實際空間嘅條件去作出相應嘅配合咯。咁而 Playwright 點解我哋會 partner with 呢啲嘅社區嘅團體？就係佢哋有空間，佢哋有 local knowledge，佢知道佢哋嘅社區嘅持份者嗰個諗法係啲乜嘢，佢哋嘅需要係啲乜嘢。而 Playwright 或者一啲嘅專業嘅一啲嘅伙伴，佢可以提供嘅好多嘅就係 skills 啦，即係譬如我哋可以做到一啲 assessment， 一啲關於 risk 同 safety 嘅一啲 assessment。你喺天台咁玩，可能就唔好玩打排球啦，打咗落去都唔知點樣執翻。即係我哋可能會做呢啲嘅 assessment， 而我哋都會從旁去協助，話翻俾家長咧其實咁樣小朋友佢係 challenge 緊自己，佢都感受緊一啲嘅挑戰性，但係你唔需要咁快抹殺佢。如果唔係，你將佢做得太安全，佢又變得唔好玩。咁所以我相信呢一個嘅協作係可以再讓大家去 一來發揮到自己嘅專長，同一時間可以建立到一個更加有互信嘅一個嘅過程咯。
我可能補充少少嗰個即係對於 public space 嘅使用，即係 accessibility 嘅問題。即係其實 sociologist 咧成日都會諗就係咧對於某一樣即喺特別係公共空間嗰個 accessibility 咧點樣俾一啲即係 structure 我哋叫 structural inequalities 啦嚇，去影響到嘅。即係例如我點樣用嗰個公園，即係我究竟咩人可以用嗰個公園？或者咩人 feel entitled 去 access 嗰啲 public space 咧？咁其實係同我哋成個即係社會即係好多唔同嘅即係不平等係好有關係。例如即係可能 based on 即係性別啦 ，based on age 啦，based on 種族啦，或者係你嘅移民身份啦，即係可能呢一啲咧其實係會即係 kind of 即係一個 obstacles 咧。係令我哋可以用嗰樣嘢，即係譬如我好多即係劏房戶，即係佢哋本身係即係可能新移民啦。咁其實佢哋係好少咧係會用佢樓下啲公園。其實有好多公園㗎嚇，喺呢個葵青 district 裏面係非常之多公園嘅。咁但係佢哋係唔會用㗎。咁點解會唔用咧？咁其實好多就會覺得好似唔係我即係可以去，或者係好似唔係好舒服喎喺個位。因為其實好多時候咧啲公園咧可能係係一啲即係可能叔叔會喺度啦，即係大部分都係叔叔啦咁樣，即係我唔係話叔叔唔 friendly 咁，但係即係你作為一個女性，你又好難自己一個人去用嗰個公園啊，或者你又好難放心俾自己個女咧去嗰個公園度玩嘅，係咪？即係呢啲位就係一個即係嗰個影響到我哋唔同嘅即係唔同 social 即係唔同 social background 嘅人，佢哋點樣 access 嗰個即係嗰個 public space。咁當然好似即係Ernest 咁講啦，即係如果嗰個即係嗰個 community 本身咧，佢哋嗰個trust 係可以 build 到嘅，係啦，即係可能唔同嘅，即係可能 NGO 又好，或者可能即係學校又好，即係唔同嘅 parties，佢哋可以營造到一種我覺得我 feel safe 喺呢一個社區裡面去使用一啲 space，而我亦都尊重其他即係唔同嘅群體，佢哋去用一啲即係 public space 嘅一個權利嘅。咁呢一個係一個共識，呢個 consensus 係一個社群嘅共識嚟嘅，係啦。咁所以我諗呢個係需要有嘅一個共識。咁但係呢個係一個非常長嘅時間，亦都非常要即係 involve 唔同嘅人去 build 嘅一個共識，同埋以至於呢個共識點樣 sustain 咧？又係一個即係比較即係都好 conflicting 嘅嘢嚟嘅。即係譬如我哋嘅共識係 OK，我哋要 equally 咁樣 access 呢個地方，咁我哋要即係遵從某一啲嘅 rules， 即係當我哋係用呢個空間嘅時候，我哋要即係去 observe 某啲 rules。咁但係當我會認為有啲人 violate 咗呢啲 rules 或者 guidelines 嘅時候咧，咁我就可能我會投訴佢，係啦。咁就可能 invite 咗嗰種即係 supervision 啦。咁就係話我哋如何 supervise 呢啲即係 access 咧，或者係呢啲 usage 咧，係啦。咁呢個又係一啲比較複雜嘅嘢。咁但係即係歸根究底就係我哋嗰個社區有幾即係或者我哋個人本身對於即係公共空間係點樣睇，我哋點樣去 respect 其他人，即係或者我哋包容其他人對於嗰個公共空間嘅使用。我諗呢個係即係好需要一個即係社會 solidarity， 即係我認為啦，即係社會學家好中意講 solidarity。係咁呢個 solidarity 嘅建立咧，又係另外一回事啦。又要
講而家政府對呢啲地方嘅管理咧，算唔算嚴格啊？會唔會係呢啲居民其實佢係揀咗一啲監管相對少嘅空間嚟使用，定係呢啲管理方面點樣拿捏？你有冇咩意見？
嗱，因為我舉啲 empirical 嘅嘢先啦，我冇乜管理點樣管理咧，我個人係冇乜管理嘅嚇，咁冇乜管理經驗，所以唔敢講我點樣管理。咁但係我哋即係我嘅 observation 就係佢 selectively 嘅，即係譬如有一啲特別係即係食環署咁樣啦，喺一啲即係當然喺 wet market 呢啲位置或者喺啲 market 嘅位置咧，佢哋就管理就會嚴謹啲啦。咁你因為你唔可以阻街，咁你阻街就大鑊㗎嘛，係咪？即係你一定要清咗條街，你at least 係即係有一個 basic 每個人都行到啦。即係呢個係點解佢嗰個 district 會咁比較嚴謹咧？就係因為佢需要一個好 practical 嘅一個 function， 佢就要 make 即係呢個 equilibrium，everyone can use it。咁但係譬如有一啲位置，譬如我頭先 show 俾你睇咧，即係譬如擺啲 sofa 喺度啊，或者喺度掛衫啊，你話係咪？好多人去趕啊，成啊，咁啊，我每次去到都會見到人晾衫咯。即係我諗可能呢啲位咧，佢係有鬆有緊嘅，係啦。即係究竟佢有幾大程度 disrupt 咗嗰個 community 嘅 everyday life 咧，如果唔係真係咁大程度嘅話咧，可能其實佢唔會 invite 一啲管理落嚟嘅。咁但係可能如果佢真係好大問題咧，就 create 咗 obstacles 或者係影響咗人哋嘅 usage 咧，咁佢哋有人投訴咧，咁佢哋先至落嚟執法嘅。即係我諗即係呢一種，所以我講話係一個好似 guerrilla tactics 咁樣嘅嘢，就係我見到冇人用，冇人管，我咪用咯咁樣。即係我用得幾多嗰啲鬼係我㗎啦。即係呢個就係一個好 flexible。咁但係同時你又會覺得佢係有留一個即係 I mean 即係 authority 啦，即係佢係有一種咁樣嘅 flexibility 喺度嘅，係啦咁樣。
點樣做好啲管理，即係實在都我都唔能夠好容易咁樣回答到呢個問題。不過我俾一個即係一個最近我哋都覺得係一個幾好嘅一個 play space 嘅一個 example。唔知大家有冇去過中西區豐密道卑路乍灣一帶嗰個海濱係啦。咁你會見到咧，嗰度係好多人用嘅，即係喺疫情期間都係而且係唔同嘅群組、唔同嘅年紀嘅人都有用，由朝到晚都有，即係去到夜深嘅時候都會有。咁嗰度其實如果我哋講一啲叫做如果真係去睇 play，佢係有擺咗一啲叫做loose part 喺度嘅，佢哋就叫做一啲嘅moving 嘅 furniture 啦嚇。咁佢哋都有一啲structure 喺度，不過都好簡單嘅。而我相信佢哋即係個管理嘅手法係同我哋平時嘅公園嘅管理嘅手法應該有啲唔一樣。以至到佢哋又可以好 vibrant 嘅一個嘅 usage，好 interesting 嘅畫面喺度。咁我反而都想知道就係咁多人又踩單車又跑步，跟住又帶寵物落去。男女老幼小朋友 toddler 都有，咁有冇好多投訴咧？咁樣我都好想知道，係啦。咁如果冇，咁係點解咧？係咪因為其實我哋都 somehow 自己我哋都可以 self-regulate，而唔係我哋每個人都要訴諸一個 authority 幫我哋 dictate 晒有啲咩係做得，有啲咩係唔做得嘅咧？好啦，咁而呢一啲嘅共識，其實我如果我係將我建立共識呢個 opportunity，即係我同 Ruby 同阿飛同 Alfred 去建立共識呢個 opportunity，可能要透過我哋嘅討論，透過我哋協助呢個 opportunity，我拱手相讓，我等人幫我 decide 晒所有嘅 boundaries 嘅話咧，其實對於我去再去重新去創造、重新去理解一個公共空間嘅 capability， 其實就會削弱咗。因為我由得你話俾我聽，我啲咩做得唔做得，係。但係我可能同幾位可能有嚟自唔同嘅背景、唔同嘅需要嘅人一齊去思考呢個議題，或者我哋一齊透過不斷去用、不斷去 refine 我哋嘅一啲嘅共識嘅時候，可能我哋會，我唔係有斷言話冇 conflict， 而係我哋點樣去識得去 master 個 conflict。所以我唔係話冇投訴，咁就即係冇人有碰撞，咁就係一個好好嘅管理啦咁樣。而係我哋點樣去 master 到個 conflict， 我哋點樣 build up 我哋自己嘅 capability， 去凝聚到個共識咧咁樣。咁我反而係諗緊呢一樣嘢，多過真係一個即係路上零意外，一個遊樂場零意外嘅一個管理嘅方針 ，which 其實係你咁樣去追求都唔係好大嘅可能，而且。喺即係我哋即係講緊好多年都有講即係詬病啲遊樂場好悶啊，咁近年都開始有啲嘅創新，但係往往其實都係咁嘅，即係唔係冇我哋唔係冇 creative 嘅 designer， 唔係冇 creative 嘅 architect， 而係往往做咗一個好創新嘅一個設計嘅方案嘅時候，到執行到可能都係起得到都好啊。當有人有投訴咧，我哋就要去即刻收翻埋嚟啦，我哋就拆咗佢啦，我哋唔好啦，因為有人投訴咁樣。咁其實係好窒礙到我哋嘅 creative 嘅。咁所以我諗我哋都要重新思考，就唔係淨係個管理嘅，即係唔係淨係邊啲 rules， 即係有三不準定係三準，而係去建立呢啲 rules， 建立呢啲共識，呢個 decision making 嘅 process 係應該係點樣嘅咧？咁樣係咪應該有多啲嘅 公民或者個社會嘅參與喺呢個嘅 decision making 嘅 process 裏邊咧咁樣。其實喺海外嘅一啲，譬如一啲公園，即係唔係淨係遊樂場，公園嘅 management 咧，佢哋係會做好多嘅public participation 嘅 process， 一齊去建構我哋想有一個點樣嘅公園，因為我哋嘅 needs 係一度會 evolve 噶嘛。以前冇咁多人去帶寵物嘅，或者係冇咁多去 bikers 嘅，咁呢啲佢會 evolve 嘅。咁當 evolve 嘅時候，我哋要靠一個人去滿足晒所有人嘅 complaint， 唔係滿足晒所有人嘅願望，又回應晒所有人嘅 complaint， 係本身一個 mission impossible。我哋期望有一個所謂叫管理者做晒所有嘢係唔得。咁所以如果個管理者願意俾翻公民有一個參與嘅權利去思考呢啲嘅問題，係好難嘅。It's gonna be a difficult conversation。但係我哋逐步去做，可能係會讓我哋可以想像一個更加好嘅一個公共空間嘅一個運作都唔定咯。
除咗呢個咁困難嘅 management 嘅問題之外咧，呢個可能你喺 Facebook 嗰度收到另外一個觀眾問題，可能就會比較相對都唔係咁容易，不過可能易少少啦，就係究竟Tini喺度問，究竟我哋有冇一啲 surveying method 或者係 communication with kids in the neighborhood， 即係 before 我哋去 create 一個 play space 之前，我哋會唔會有包容一啲細路仔，即係真係喺嗰度住嘅細路仔，或者有冇一啲好可以容納到好多人意見，攞到好多人意見嘅做 survey 嘅方法咧？因為都似乎係好難去做一個遊樂空間出嚟滿足晒全部人嘅願望㗎嘛。你3歲又玩得，13歲又玩得，33歲又玩得，呢個好困難。咁同埋咧就係會唔會其實而家設計嘅方法都係靜雞雞咁樣，就有人決定我應該係俾3歲至6歲嘅小朋友嘅，咁係咪又或者會唔會設計咗之後結果都係啲使用者都係會用一啲你諗唔到佢嘅方法嚟到使用呢啲本來唔係你 design 俾佢嘅玩意咧？
最尾個問題先係一定會嘅，因為你嘅 design intent 同小朋友會點樣玩係一定會有落差嘅，而唔好將佢理解成為一個落差先，即係你打算起一條上滑梯，你就諗住小朋友一定係由上面上落去咁樣樣，咁小朋友總會有其他嘅 creative 嘅一啲嘅玩法，尤其是佢玩完一次，佢再 revisit 可能已經會有第啲嘅啟發，佢見到一啲大啲嘅小朋友點樣，佢又會學咗嗰啲小朋友。咁所以呢個唔好將佢理解成為一個挫折，唔好一個即係唔係一個設計師嘅一個挫敗嚟嘅。唔係佢玩咗一啲我唔想佢玩嘅嘢，唔係一個挫敗嚟嘅，係啦。反而我哋諗緊，我哋就係我哋 encourage 緊幾多嘅 play 嘅 variety 出嚟咧咁樣。我哋透過擺一件件或者唔擺一件件，我哋透過一個 unfinished 嘅 design，我可以 encourage 咗幾多嘅 play 嘅behaviours 咧，小朋友可以從中可以會有幾多嘅成長咧？可能我哋可以咁樣去諗呢一個問題。至於the first half of the question， 即係我諗係理解緊點樣去 engage 小朋友或者係點樣去做一啲嘅 decision making。係嘅，如果我哋講話 surveying 啦，要設計一份嘅 survey 去滿足晒唔同年紀嘅小朋友咧，本身就已經好難㗎啦呢件事。咁所以我哋成日都講就係 playwright，以至到一啲倡議緊兒童參與嘅團體都好講，係我哋要揾出 appropriate 嘅 engagement 嘅 strategy 去針對唔同年紀或者唔同嘅能力嘅小朋友。其實都唔單止係小朋友，即係所有嘅，即係個 public 都本身唔係一個 public，there's no single public，right？所以小朋友都一樣，我哋要揾出適當佢哋嘅一個嘅方法去 engage 佢哋。至於 survey 對於小朋友係咪一個適當嘅手法咧？咁我哋見到喺海外，即係呢個，即係譬如我哋都我唔知大家有冇知道19年康文署就講話佢要改造全港170個嘅遊樂場，咁然後個過程係會 encourage 即係 public participation 咁樣啦。咁而我都估計其實 survey 都係一個好 common 嘅一個手法，即係問你中意滑梯啊定係中意千秋，即係好 common 嘅一個做法。咁而我哋喺海外，我哋都有見過啲嘅例子咧，就係有啲 researcher 都反映翻俾我哋聽咧。嗰一幅圖畫嗰個 visual 嘅 stimulation 咧，對於小朋友嚟講，佢未必係理解緊實際嗰個遊戲係點樣嘅。 譬如話佢哋有嘗試做過，佢哋俾2張嘅圖片俾小朋友睇，都係一個 climbing wall 咁先算啦，係啦。一個咧就係用塑膠做嘅，即係 colourful 嗰啲好膠嗰啲嘅 material 啦。另外一個係 clay， 係好 rocky 嘅咁樣。咁但係都係個 climbing wall， 係啦。而小朋友填寫翻出嚟咧，就係 majority 嘅小朋友都係揀第一個，即係好 colourful 用塑膠做嗰個。咁而問翻我哋原因就係因為呢幅圖多啲顏色，感覺開心啲啊嘛。係。但係個 experience 係一樣嘅。咁所以你要理解就係話一啲嘅方式其實對於小朋友個 perception 嚟講，你想問佢邊樣嘢好玩啲，佢可能只係諗緊嗰樣嘢睇嚟得意啲咁。係啦。咁所以我哋有陣時做 engagement 咧，尤其是對小朋友，尤其是關於 play 咧，我哋係要做好多親身落地去嘗試同佢哋去玩完一輪，先至再去做一啲嘅討論，或者係即使係頭先嗰個討論都好啊，我哋會俾佢哋試下玩一次。譬如話，我哋有啲時候用模型嘅方式去同佢哋做一啲嘅設計啦，但係小朋友未必設計完之後真係中意自己設計嗰樣嘢出嚟嘅，因為可能佢只係設計嗰個過程覺得好過癮嘅啫，即係譬如佢係咁擠膠水擠落去個板度啦，佢可能只係覺得擠膠水呢下好過癮。佢係咪實際係想將佢變成一個 water body 咧？佢未必係。咁所以我哋會做嘅就係我哋會做啲 prototype 啦，俾小朋友玩一次，睇下佢喺玩嘅過程有啲咩嘅反應。佢玩嘅過程會衍生到幾多種玩法。咁 designer 再去從呢個去判斷。好啦，然後 second like first part of the question 嘅第二嘅部分就係我哋有冇一啲嘅資訊或者有乜 big data 幫我哋去做到呢啲嘅決定咧？除咗係直接 engage 小朋友，我哋一直都好講話就係我哋係需要一個較為全盤啲嘅 understanding， 因為啱嘅，我哋冇辦法可以做到一個遊樂場去滿足晒所有嘢嘅。咁但係我哋要有一個 strategy 咯，我哋要 tactful 一啲咯。究竟係做街尾個遊樂場定街頭個遊樂場咧？究竟邊一個遊樂場可以吸引到多啲 preschoolers 咧？咁我哋唔知噶嘛。咁所以我哋應該要做一啲全面啲嘅一啲嘅審查。咁喺外國佢哋就會做啲個 audit 啦。嗰啲 audit 就會睇翻分佈啦，佢睇翻佢本身個遊樂空間佢 induce 嘅乜嘢嘅 play behaviours 啦。佢會睇翻個人口啦等等。綜合呢啲我哋先至去做一啲嘅決定，究竟呢個遊樂場改造啊、保留啊，甚至乎拆咗佢咧都冇人玩㗎啦咁樣。不如俾啲 youth 喺度。即係踩下板就算啦，或者俾長者喺度做其他嘢就算啦咁樣。咁所以呢一個嘅 process 係重要嘅，就唔係好啦。我哋求其揀一啲啦，唔係。不過係咪求其？我唔係講大家係求其做嘅。我都唔知個 rationale 係乜嘢，係啦，我都唔知個 rationale係乜嘢嘅。戴翻頭盔先。
睇下我哋觀眾有冇其他問題先，似乎就冇啦。咁都有喺過去嗰4場嘅 salon 裏邊咧，其實我哋有冇話每一個 speaker 嚟 share 嘅嘢，會唔會直接就成為咗一件 exhibit，或者會成為咗一個workshop， 或者會成為咗另外一個喺UABB 裏邊嘅 seminar， 或者會 spark interest。咁我諗其實我作為 part of the curator team 啦，就係希望第一係 spark interest 啦，大家嚟聽咗 attendees architect HAIA 嘅 members 嚟聽咗呢個 talk 之後，可能你會有一啲新嘅啟發，或者係你會發覺，咦，原來我哋 speaker 做嘅嘢同你本身做開嘅嘢都有一啲嘅可以 resonate 嘅地方喎。咁可能就可以一齊去做一件 exhibit， 無論嗰件 exhibit 係可能好似 Ernest 咁樣，你做緊嗰個點樣去 engage public 去做 playground design， 可能呢個 in itself 佢已經係一件 exhibit 啦，或者Ruby 做緊嘅嘢，可能同我哋某一啲 designer propose 嘅 design strategies 可以有一啲嘅crossover。咁我見到 Roger 係想 Roger 你咪會開麥講嘢，開 cam 講嘢。
首先我唔知有冇其他 SC member 喺度啦，咁我都代表 SC member 多謝 策展團隊同埋所有 speakers 啦，因為今次都第4次嘅 salon， 咁其實都內容好豐富，內容都好有資訊性同埋都好啟發性嘅。咁我其實我本來有幾個問題，但係我諗即係喺個過程裏邊大家都答咗㗎啦。不過我就想有個睇法就係其實Ruby 同埋 Ernest 今日講嘅嘢其實好有趣，就係話都幾啱嗰個題目，就係話今次嗰個 resilience 呢樣嘢。但係某程度上咧，亦都係一個 paradox 嚟嘅，就係點解咧？我哋咁 resilient 啊，香港人 OK，咁但係其實我哋嘅 resilient 都係一啲困境上面做到一啲嘅特別嘅嘢，咁嚟到去處理呢個困境去。但係喺個處理過程，我哋發得我哋好有即係我哋都好多嘅想法啦。咁但係我哋點樣去push forward 呢件事咧，係唔係再幫佢哋諗多啲更加啟發性嘅去處理一個嘅困境咧？但係係咪咁樣就等於默認咗個困境咧？例如幫我哋設計家私，係咪默認咗呢一個生活方式係好嘅？我哋可以繼續去做呢個生活方式咧。甚至乎我亦都見過曾幾何時幾年前有啲嘅設計比賽就係話設計一個 nano flat。咁其實呢啲係咪一個好嘅方式去 celebrate 我哋嘅 resilience 咧？其實我覺得個睇法就係話，其實呢個困境會過嘅。當然啦，我哋喺呢個政策上面嘅 advocacy 一定要繼續做，因為頭先阿 Ruby 都講過，其實喺政策上面有好多嘢我哋要係喺政策上面先至處理得到，即係地方政策呢個土地政策係一個其一啦。其實土地政策亦都影響到好多頭先 Ernest 講嘅問題。咁喺呢個逆即係其實嗰個逆境，其實我哋大家都共處緊嘅。因為雖然除咗呢個劏房同埋呢個係一個問題之外，其實各階層嘅人因為香港地少人多嘅問題，其實各階層嘅生活嘅密度都好高啊。咁其實可能有好多喺我哋嘅 resilience 處理逆境嘅方式，點樣可以滲透喺各界社會、各區社會，甚至乎過咗疫情啦，過咗呢一個困境啦，但係我哋都係地少人多，我哋都點樣，甚至乎一個 young professional 都係可能佢住嘅地方都好細嘅，相對比佢喺歐美啊其他嘅，我點樣用我哋過往可以 essence， 我哋點樣去處理嗰個困境嘅 essence 喺邊一度咧？我覺得可能係喺呢一個嘅 UABB 係一個好好嘅議題。我亦都希望係啦，唔係即係亦都多其實即係我見到都有好多potential exhibitor 喺度啦。咁希望可以喺呢一方面，我覺得係有好大嘅發展嘅空間。咁都係講到呢度啦。咁希望大家踴躍支持submit 多啲 exhibition 嘅 proposal。咁curator team 係可以有多啲嘅。係啦，即係百花齊放。
多謝 Roger。係啊，香港地少人多，究竟呢個係一個迷思啊，定係一個真實嘅 picture 咧？咁可能呢個都係一個可能有 potential exhibitor 會想即係講呢一個題目嘅係啦，都係一個機會啦。咁至於劏房究竟係咪一個默認，即係整家私俾劏房，我就覺得佢其實係一個黐膠布嘅 solution 嚟嘅，就係整住先。好似頭先 Ruby 都講，如果有得揀嘅，梗係全部買樓添啦，可以咁。但係現實嘅情況就未容許啦，當然。好啦，咁好多謝今日大家嘅時間，大家嘅參與，亦都好多謝 Ruby、Ernest 嘅分享啦。咁之後咧，我哋呢段片就會 upload 上 Facebook、YouTube 㗎啦。咁各位 potential exhibitor 就踴躍 send 你哋嘅 submission 啦。我哋仲4月4號就係嗰個 deadline，which is 仲有大概2個禮拜嘅時間。咁就我哋喺下一個 UABB 嘅 event 再見啦。唔該晒大家。
唔好意思，我最後講一句就係頭先關於講到 engaging children 嘅話咧，我哋啱出咗一個 toolkit，咁我啱喺個 chat box 度咧都 send 咗條 link 俾大家嘅，同埋原先關於係 play in community 或者係同社區嘅持份者去協作嘅，我都準備咗個 video，不過我都驚太窒啦，我就唔播，咁但係就 send 咗條 link 喺個 chat box 度，咁大家有興趣嘅都可以撳嚟睇下。唔該晒。
你都可以喺個 Facebook page 嗰度留言，因為我驚完咗 Zoom 之後個 chat box 嗰條 link 兩條 link 冇咗。
好啊，好啊。係
你去翻我哋嗰個 page 嗰度留翻個資料啊，唔該晒你。
唔該你。
好，咁 have a nice Sunday。
拜。